Okay, so let's get this show on the road. Let's do this right now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So we're starting our show a little late. I was putting my website up to date, totally spaced out the time, realized it was already 9 a.m. Eastern time or 3 p.m. here in France, and that I was running late. So anyways, I uploaded my latest movie that I just finished today, the making of my last painting that we finished last week. And so anyways, I uploaded that to my website, put it all up to date, and of course I lost track of the time. My website is TheZenRebel or Zen Art Rebel. Both links will take you to my website. You can go to my video page and you'll see I have like over 40 videos of the making of my paintings. Some of the videos are only like 2 minutes long, and some of them are like 14 minutes long. They are like really like short movies, actually, not really done as like those little YouTube hit movies, you know, ultra speed. No, these have little stories in them, a little bit of humor, whatever. So anyways, my friends, let's get down to business. Let's go over to the computer and start off like we always do by checking out what we did yesterday, and then we'll take it from there. So let's look at our quick little recap. What did we do? Well, we actually started off by making the frame and deciding what our painting was going to be about. Then we did this lower part where we started off and by knifing on some texture to make our destroyed city. And then after that, what did we do? Well, we put the first coat of our background color. So that is what we did, and this is what we're going to continue to do today. We are going to put a second coat of light gray here, because if you're standing where I am, you can actually see all the brush strokes from the other day. So we definitely want to get rid of that. It doesn't look very nice. And then down here where we knifed this on, well, actually it looks super beautiful. I think it looks great. Has a lot of texture to it. And I think it just looks really super. So so we're going to work on this once we get our second coat on. Like that, maybe by the time we do the second coat, finish this bottom part, maybe this will be dry enough that we can put in the shading, and then tomorrow we can start on the details of our background. That would be ideal. So anyways, let's get to work. And I see that I am out of white paint, so let me just go back here in my little kitchen area where I have a lot of paint all stored, including my white paint. So let me grab this. And actually I should transfer this paint into this jar, because as you can see right here, when I get down to this area here, this is so narrow, the cap area, that I'm going to have a hard time. So what I usually do is I transfer everything in a larger kind of paint can, so it's easier to grab with a spoon, and I can get every last drop of paint without having to get them all over my knuckles and whatnot. But we're not going to do that right away because, to be honest, I'm anxious to get to work. So let's just grab some white paint, and I'll put it in the palette that we were using before. And there we go. So there is quite a bit of surface, so I'm going to make sure that I have plenty to do what we have to do. And I think I'll even add just one more. There we go. One more spoonful. So let's get this back here. Grab a rag. There we go. Clean off my knife. And we're getting close to the end of October, Halloween, and I'm starting to feel it here in southern France. The temperatures have dropped quite a bit, especially here in the studio. I can feel that good old little chill coming on. So that is a major drag. I prefer it when it's too hot than too cold, I must say. Even though I've lived for years in Vermont, I should be used to it, but not really. So a little bit of black paint, not too much. I want to keep it kind of the gray area kind of light. So we are going to just mix all this up with some water, because the white paint, since it's a brand new can, it's pretty stiff, I noticed, which is no big deal. Let's get our paintbrushes. Where is our paintbrush? I'm sure I had one a little bit wider than this the other day. Didn't I? Or didn't I? I guess not. I guess this was the brush I used. For some odd reason, I had a feeling it was a little bit wider, but I guess not. Okay, so, all right, losing my mind already. So let's just add a little bit of water to all this. Let's stir everything up. This white paint is very thick. No big deal. We're just going to give it a good workout. There we go. I'll just take a few minutes to work all this in there. There we go. Also going to get rid of some of this black paint that was on my can, because I don't want this to get too dark. You have to keep in mind as well that when the paint dries, it has a tendency to darken as well. So this looks like it's going to work out just right. All I have to do is just keep stirring, squashing, churning all this. It is light gray, just what we wanted. So that's a good thing. I'm just going to keep blending it so it's nice and homogeneous, because I can see some streaks of darker paint within the gray, the lighter gray. So just make sure everything is nice and blended. And then I'm going to make sure, I'm going to compare to what we have on the canvas, make sure this is the right gray. Looks like it might be a little bit too light, which is no big deal. I had just a little bit of black, and I still see some black streaks in here, so it might not be completely blended. So I'm just going to keep working this. How's this going to look? Looks like it's a little bit lighter. That's what I was just saying, a little bit lighter, so it's no big deal. I'm just going to add the little bit of black that I took out of this a few seconds ago. And we'll just keep blending everything in. It's still pretty thick here. I think I can use a little bit of water. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Let's just keep working all this. So let me just step back a little bit and take a look. And I think I'm going to add, here, I'll just bring over, first of all, I think maybe I'll wipe my hands. Then I'll bring over camera number 1 here so you can see what we've done so far. So if I switch over to camera number 1, you can see this is the little bit that I just put on the, compared to what we did yesterday. So you can see it's a little bit lighter, and that is why I'm going to just add just a little bit of black, because my main character is going to be light as well. So anyways, we're just going to have to be playing back and forth, and there's going to be details, some plants. So anyways, just going to put like a very little bit of black in there. And that should be just enough to darken everything up. Still keeping in mind that it's going to darken even more when it dries, as I mentioned not that long ago. Get rid of some of this paint here. It's all sticky. There we go. And let's blend in this black paint. There we go. Everything is darkening up a little bit. Just going to keep blending it, making sure everything is, all the paint is nice and homogeneous, that gray that we're looking for. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. That looks pretty good. I can still see a few streaks. How's this look now? That paint looks awfully thick still. But anyways, let's just try it here. Okay, it looks a little bit light, but that's fine. I think it's going to blend in fine when it darkens, when it dries. So let me go back up to this upper left-hand corner. That's where we're going to start from. Way up there, I'm going to move the camera over to the edge so I'm not in front of the lens. I hate doing that. And let's do that like that. I'll switch over to camera number 1 and let's get to work. I might turn off the overhead light in a few seconds to get rid of the glare. This gray blends in pretty much with our first coat. So that's a good sign. And if it's not quite the same, it doesn't really matter at this stage. So very good. I'll bring the camera over just a little bit more. And what happens if I turn off the overhead light? If I do that, I get rid of that glare, which is not a bad idea. And I'll turn the light back on once we've done with this upper part. I have a feeling I've done way too much paint, but it doesn't matter. Let's continue all the top part right here like that. There we go. Now I can put this paint on fairly thick. So I'm going to go back and turn on the light, if you don't mind. Up. There we go. You can see where the paint is wet still, but nice and wet around the nozzle here. Oh boy, there you go. I don't know if this will be dry for us to continue working on this later, just for the simple reason that I'm putting on this paint pretty thick. So we're just about done. Okay, so oh yes, of course. I did skip a little bit. Right back down over here at the beginning. Right down there we missed an area. So let's do that. There we go. Very nice. Okay, so operation second coat all done. Still a little paint right here, but it doesn't really matter. I don't even know why I bothered to clean it up. It's going to be gray anyways. I guess force of habit. Okay, so we got that done. Now what's the next step? Can't do anything on this upper part right away, so I might as well concentrate on this lower part. So again, I'm going to just make some more, a little bit darker gray here. And I'm going to grab a different paintbrush, of course. What am I going to use? One of these guys maybe, or go back to one of my favorites, back over here. And I'm going to put that guy to soak as I prepare some darker gray. And okay, I'm just going to move a little bit of this paint on another palette. Why, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not thinking straight today for some reason. Okay, so let's get this together here. Okay, so let me get my dark gray together here. I'm going to mix in the black with some of that gray that we had earlier. There we go. Again, I have to make sure I have the right quantity of paint. I always seem to do either too much or not enough. So, instead of going ahead and starting to paint, I'm just going to make a little bit more since I have all this unused gray right here. And I'm going to add a little more of this black paint right there. So we got that together. Let me just blend all this in to get a nice dark gray. This is just going to be like an outline to, eventually we'll go over this with some black. This is just to give it some variation, some depth. And I want this to be nice and dark. And that doesn't, I'm going to keep mixing it because it doesn't look quite dark enough for my taste. But then again, as I keep mentioning, it's going to darken as it dries. So maybe this is going to be fine. Okay, so let me grab my chair. The chair over here. And we're going to start working on our destroyed city here. So camera number 1 seems to be in place. Am I going to be in the way? I hope not. Let me just move this camera over a little bit. It distorts everything a little bit, but I'd rather have distortion than my face in front of the lens. So let me just step back also, take a second to look at all this. Okay, very good. So let me switch over to camera numero uno. Shit, I already got some fucking paint on my shirt. Excuse me, folks. I'm just going to switch back over here for a second. This is the shirt that I'm not painting with, and I already have goddamn paint all over it, which is a major drag. Let me see if I can't clean it off right away here. Then again, why do I have my goddamn shirt right here in the studio? That's a good question as well. I have so few shirts without stains that I try to keep them as clean as possible, you know, but even when I'm not wearing them, I get paint on them. Jeez. Anyway, so let's get back to work. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Just little variations of our poor little destroyed city. There we go. Just like that. Okay. So, I need to step back and just think this out for a minute. Because I have a feeling I can't do anything else until everything is kind of dry. I don't want to jump the gun here. So I can't do anything, can't do any of the shadowing to the upper part, all this, because it's too wet. And I can't go into the details because I have to do this background before I can go on top of it. So, okay, damn, I hate these short streams. Once I start painting, I hate stopping. Really, it's, I like painting. That's why I like huge paintings, because you can just start one end, go all the way around. By the time you get here, it's dry over there, and you just keep going. That's how I like it. In the summertime, I have the fan on full blast to permit me to just keep working. Unfortunately, the temperature in the studio doesn't allow me to have a fan on unless I want to catch one mega cold, which I'm not about to do. So unfortunately, my friends, this is going to be the end of our stream. It was a very short stream today once again. But anyways, that's the way it goes. Do I have paint on my nose, or is it the glare from the lights? I can't tell. Anyways, so I want to thank you once again for joining me. I hope as well that you will join me tomorrow, Friday. All right. Join me tomorrow and we will continue on this painting. I'm sure we'll get quite a bit done tomorrow. Well, that's not saying much because we're going to be doing the shading on the background of the top part. And then, well, I'm still not going to be able to do the lower part till all the details of the upper part are done. So tomorrow might be another very short stream, which is no big deal for me since it's Friday. It just means I'm going to have a longer weekend. So anyways, once again, my friends, thank you for joining me. I hope you'll join me tomorrow as well. I'm going to leave you like usual with two things, my schedule, and by saying, ciao mes amis.